frustrated and those suffering with addiction have limited resources available to them, struggling to obtain even the simplest things due to stigmas. But the F5 project is changing that. F5 hits refresh to change lives. Adam Martin and Emma Quinn join us this morning to talk about their mission and an upcoming event. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So, for people that don't know about F5, you guys are doing amazing things.
Thank you.
Can you maybe talk a little bit about what F5 is? And
Talk about us being amazing. Yeah, I can do that.
yeah, take it away. I don't even need to be here.
So we started in 2016-ish. We were going into the jails, just meeting with people, me and Mark Hedlund from Exit Realty.
Yeah, I know Mark.
And so we just went in there on the idea that, you know, he's not a felon, I am, but like what it would look like if people who have been in those situations actually came back and started helping people in those situations. And we had 7 guys at that first meeting, and then, you know, the next week we had 14, next week we had 35, and then they eventually had to like take the list away and just let anybody come, because they were only letting people were removing people's names off the list so that they could get into the meeting, you know. And so they were just like, it was a free-for-all. So we averaged like 65, 70 people in the Cass County Jail every week. Fast forward to today, we have 7 houses that we use for reentry from prison, jails, treatments, and 26 staff across the state. Wow. And it's all people who at one time had struggled with mental health, you know, addiction, homelessness, you know, whatever those barriers in North Dakota have been, and try to just give grace, you know, to people who have been really stigmatized in our state.
Oh. And talking about like that mental health part of it too, maybe Emma, you can explain a little bit more, but that's really...
Yeah, so everything really starts with mental health. Everybody has mental health. And so really addressing the anxiety, the depression that usually lead people to addiction is really important. So we like to hook people up with resources such as counselors or services for psychiatric medications and things like that. So we're really trying to put a face to addiction and mental health, and saying that it's okay to live with a serious mental illness, it's okay to live with addiction, and that we're just normal people too, and trying to break that stigma.
Right. And then, you know, talking about all of the other members, you know, there was a huge need or desire for people to be a part of that, and then together, so like the peer support too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think like in North Dakota, we'd never really taken these things really like seriously, because the people who are like in charge of making decisions about it or whatever, they don't really, they may deal with it, but not to the level of like, you know, they've never had to like bail out of jail or like had mug shots or, you know, had their kids taken away. So it's a little, it's more about sympathy, where for us it's about empathy. Like I had lost my kids, I've been locked up, I've been, you know, leaving the Cass County Jail with nowhere to go, and like waiting in a homeless shelter that's filled up with beds and don't know if I'm going to stay there. So it's a little bit different for us. Like when we meet with someone, we're doing peer support, right? Like we can share the language of the heart rather than the language of something that we heard about or something we learned in a book or whatever. I'm not the most educated person. I have like a GED, but I'll tell you, like, you know, when I can think direct experience and share that with someone who's going through that experience, we'll win them over in a few minutes, which usually would take educated or like paid professionals years to do. You know?
Yeah, because you've walked the walk, and you're like, now I'm here. I was where you are, and now I'm here. And so you guys have this awesome opportunity ball coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that too?
Yeah, so our Opportunity Ball is our annual gala where we bring in speakers from across the nation. And we have a great time. We have speakers, we have a silent auction. This year we have DJ Pretty Ricky DJing. I was going to say, do you want to talk about our speaker?
It's Ricky.
Yeah.
Everybody calls
Ricky.
No. Everybody calls him Pretty Ricky.
Oh.
I know him as Ricky. So he works at F5. He's an amazing person. So our speaker is Ginny Burton. She is she went to prison like 3 times, got you know, caught up, you know, guns, drugs, you know, all that stuff. And so she passed the bar exam after she got sober, and now she's looking to become a prosecutor, right? In somewhere, right? And so she's really big about reform and policy and recovery. And me and her, when I talked to her on the phone just to ask her if she'd be interested, we just hit, it was like we were been friends for a long
Forever,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. So she's going to be our speaker. There's usually about, 200 to 300 people there. Last 2 years ago, we had to bring tables out, so it's a pretty awesome event. Everybody gets dressed up, and it's just fun.
This is a way for you guys to raise some funds too, then, to support.
Yeah, it's more of a, it's a, Giving Hearts Day is coming up in February. We have
Sure.
our event for it, but it's more of a donor appreciation because we wouldn't exist, if it wasn't for our donors,
Yeah.
right? They, we don't have the money to just dedicate our whole lives to just go out and try and change lives, but
But you
when
guys
we
are
come
giving the
together,
time and energy that it takes.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
yeah.
We show up when nobody else will. Whether
Sometimes we show up when they don't want us to. So it's,
And I follow along
Yeah.
with your stories and stuff, and it's great to see that. And so thank you guys for all that you're doing, and definitely get those tickets to the Opportunity Ball. So
Yep, f5project.org. You'll find Opportunity Ball or how to donate, any of that stuff.
excellent. Well, thank you guys for being here.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Coming up on today's show, an event to celebrate spinning, knitting, weaving, and just being together. We'll tell you when and where it's happening. Stay with us.